Hey everybody, NecroVMX here, and welcome back, back to another 5 matches of Pokemon Showdown. You're probably thinking, why 5 matches? Why not 10? You always do 10. Why are you doing 5? Do you see the length of the video? One of these matches is incredibly long. It's kind of alluded to in the title of this episode. It's mind-blowing what happened. But that's actually going to be the last match. I got 4 more normal matches to show you before we get to the really crazy one. This one's versus Yuko Oshima 11. Let's do it. So they sent out Swoobat, which is always a fucking problem because it's so fast. I let out with Charizard. I decided to immediately Mega Evolve into Mega Charizard Y, get the Sunlight going. They went for Calm Mind. I'm like, crap, I'm in trouble. Decided to go for Dragon Pulse. The Stab Dragon Pulse. It did like nothing. It is a special type move, and I'm realizing, Charizard's special is not physical in this sense. He got another Calm Mind up. I don't want to swap. I decided to get the Calm Mind up. I do get a burn, which is nice, but it clearly has leftovers. So they went for Air Slash. They really wrecked me. Thankfully, they didn't flinch me, which pretty much saved me, and I was able to get off another Fire Blast to take the Swoobat down. Swoobat is a really scary Pokemon. So in comes Heatran. I'm thinking this thing definitely has Flash Fire. So I went for Air Slash, popped the balloon. Didn't get flinch. I went for Focus Blast to try and take him out. It didn't quite take him out. They took me out with Flash Cannon, but I'm pretty happy with how Mega Charizard Y did his job there. He took out one Pokemon, almost took out the second one. I sent in Manaphy. So they immediately swapped to Superior. I know there's a Grass-type move coming. I was already locked into the first Surf, but I'm like, I'm easily going to swap. I'm going to swap over to Rotom. And they decided to go for Leech Seed, which means I probably could have stayed in, but there was nothing that Manaphy could really do to Superior anyway. So they went for Leaf Storm. It actually does a shitload of damage. Like, that was way crazier. I went for Hidden Power Ice because I thought they might swap, expecting something else. But the Leech Seed's going to take me down. So, yeah. So I sent in Weavile. Weavile is another really scary Pokemon. It's very fast. It has great options. Went for Icicle Crash. Took the Superior right down. I guess they didn't have anything that wanted to swap into Ice, or they're just not a swapper. So they sent in Pheromosa. I decide to save the Weavile, and I bring in Hoopa. So Bug Buzz, because I knew he was going to do a Bug-type move, because I am Dark-type. That does nothing. He sends the Heatran back in, which is going to take the Psyshock and go down. So that's Heatran down. So, not doing too bad. I have 4 Pokemon. They have 3. Here comes Kartana. Kartana's also kind of dangerous. I decided to swap to Manaphy because I figured it's going to use a Grass-type move. It actually went for Knockoff, which gets rid of my leftovers, which I'm not upset about that. I swapped over to Heatmore because I figured this thing is now definitely going to use a Grass-type move, and I take the Leaf Blade really well. Then they went for Knockoff. They outsped me. Got rid of my Expert Belt, which was fine because I wasn't running any Fire-type moves anyway. Fire Blast is going to take them out. And if you're wondering why the hell would you put Expert Belt on a Fire-type Pokemon that doesn't have any Fighting-type moves, I was learning that myself. I'm playing random battles. So Pheromosa comes in and Bug Buzzes the Heatmore to death and gets a Beast Boost. And I send Manaphy back in. So they went for Poison Jab. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I went for Psychic. It does a lot of damage. 95.5% of his health. Another Poison Jab is not going to be enough, so the second Psychic is easily going to take the Pheromosa down. They only have 1 more Pokemon left. I'm in pretty good position here. The last Pokemon is Throw, which is, of course, weak to Psychic. Unfortunately, Throw's special defenses are really high. It goes for a Knockoff. That's going to take my Manaphy down. But I do have 2 more Pokemon, one of which is Hoopa, so I'm not, super concerned about this. So I send Hoopa in and went for the Psyshock. That does a lot more damage. At least in that case, it's a stab move, not using it with a Water-type Pokemon. So, GG there. Let's move on to the second battle. So the second battle is versus Dark Lordion. I don't know, man. That's not a very good name. But let's see. So they sent in Crabominable, and I sent in Cresselia. So I'm like, I don't really like this matchup. And neither did they. They decided to swap over to Bisharp, and I went for Psychic. I think they knew that I was going to go for Psychic, or a Psychic-type move. Bisharp, of course, is Dark-type. I switch over to my Pyroar. So they went for Behind the Substitute, probably to see what I was going to do and get a little leftovers back. I went for Hyper Voice. Of course, Hyper Voice goes through the subs. It doesn't break them. It goes straight through the Substitute. They went for Knockoff. That's going to do a lot of health and get rid of my Life Orb. So the next Hyper Voice isn't going to be nearly as much damage because that's what the Life Orb does, is it just increases the damage of all moves. So the second Hyper Voice is unfortunately not going to be enough to take the Bisharp down. I really needed that Life Orb to make a 2-hit KO happen. They went for Sucker Punch there. I kind of figured that they would because I went for Will-O-Wisp, thinking that they would swap. So I thought they would swap. If they thought I would attack, we'd second-guess each other. The second Sucker Punch is going to take me down because I did go for Hyper Voice on that turn. So, I sent in Suicune. Bisharp's in a pretty great position here, but I'm pretty sure I could take it out pretty quickly. I went for the Scald to break the sub. Let's see what he's got. He's got Knockoff. Of course, he's going to knock off my Leftovers. Suicune usually runs Leftovers. There was no shock there. It's not like I had Life Orb on it or anything. They went for Sucker Punch. I'm going to take that really well, and this Scald is going to be more than enough to take the Bisharp down. So, good night, sleep tight, you white. So it comes Registeel. Registeel can be really problematic in the right hands. I sent in Chandelure, thinking I can at least force a swap. They went in for Stealth Rock, so I'm going to try for the Fire-type move. Unfortunately, they saw that coming. They swapped into Nihilego. So Nihilego is going to take the Fire Blast really well. At least I got rid of that balloon. So there is that. So they went for Acid Spray. I guess they didn't really have any options against me, or maybe they just wanted to lower my special defense. I went for Hidden Power here, which I believe was Hidden Power Grass. I'm not too sure of that. I wish it said it in the replay on the side. Unfortunately, they went for Power Gem, and that's more than enough to take me out. So I bring in my Alolan form Raichu. I went for Surf. Surf's going to take them out. Thankfully, Alolan form Raichu is just as fast as regular Raichu. In comes Seismitoad. So I decide to swap back to Cresselia because I'm thinking, well, here comes Earthquake, right? And yeah, there's Earthquake, and of course Cresselia is immune because it has a Levitate ability. So I went for Ice Beam there. It doesn't do a lot of damage. I get the Freeze, and then they immediately unthaw and hit me with Scald. Of course, Scald, actually, the way Scald works is if you're frozen, if you use Scald, it immediately thaws you out. So that's, that's a thing. So Ice Beam isn't going to have that extra utility there. They went for Rain Dance to power up their Scald, so because it's not doing a lot of damage to me. Of course, the second time it does a lot more damage. The first Scald was 18%. That was more like 28%. So I decided to switch over to Psychic since I'm not going to be able to successfully freeze them since they have Scald. Steam Eruption and Sacred Fire are two other moves that can do that. So they went for Sludge Wave there, and they went down to their Life Orb damage. So unfortunately, I'm poisoned, but I'm in a pretty good position. It's 4v3. Avalugg comes in. Avalugg's got a lot of hit points. I hit it with Psychic. It does pretty well, all things considered. Avalanche is going to take me down just enough so that I will go down to poison. So yeah, that's it for Cresselia. So now it's 3v3, but at least I have a clean swap, and unfortunately there's still the problem with the Stealth Rock. So I bring Suicune back in. They decide to switch over to Crabominable, and I'm thinking, well, here comes a Grass-type move, but at least I got the Scald off on the Crabominable. I know there's a Grass-type move coming, but I decided to get another Scald off, thinking maybe I can burn it. I do get the burn off. They actually went for Close Combat, which is kind of crazy. But, it worked. I thought there was a Grass-type move coming, but maybe they thought I would swap. So they're burned now, and Crabominable is physical. I bring in Raichu. I know I can outspeed it, and pretty much anything is going to take it down. I went for Psyshock, and that's it. The noise you're hearing, by the way, is Gibbs chewing on one of his rubber bones. So Registeel comes back in. It's going to take that Psyshock rather well. I'm not really sure what to do with this thing. It's going for Iron Head. At least it's, not fast enough to flinch me with Iron Head, but it's still kind of a problem. So I decided to stick with Psyshock. The problem is this thing's getting back, so much from Leftovers that it's like almost not worth it. And then they start with Seismic Toss, which since they're level 79, it's going to do 79 damage each time. So I'm like, I'm just going to sack off the Raichu and let my last Pokemon deal with the Registeel and the Avalugg. And my last Pokemon is about to come out. And it's Jolteon. So, Jolteon doesn't have much to do against Registeel. It decides to go for Protect. I went for Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is just a really reliable stab move that I can just use. It's not super effective, but I'm thinking at least it'll do some damage. It actually does almost 40% damage. So I'm thinking they're definitely going to go down to the next one, except, oh, wait, I didn't account for Leftovers, so I'm thinking, shit, they're going to live it. And they're going to use Protect to get even more Leftovers damage back. So even a high damage roll isn't going to be enough to take the Registeel down on the next shot. So I'm a little, frustrated at this point, especially since Thunderbolt kind of did less damage that time. They got another Seismic Toss-Off. I know I can't take another one, and they're definitely going to go for Protect. So I'm just like, oh, well, they're not going to gain back enough. I'm outspeeding them. They're not going to gain back enough to take the next Thunderbolt. So I'm not too worried about it. They went for the Scummy Double Protect. It didn't work, and they're going to go down a Thunderbolt. So the last Pokemon that they have is Avalugg. It's their Avalugg versus my Jolteon, except I'm at red health. I know I'm going to outspeed it, but Avalugg has so many hit points. Thankfully, it has almost no special defense, and Thunderbolt is able to take it down really easy. So that was a very close one. That was kind of down to a little bit of luck there. If I did not enough damage, they would have hit me, and pretty much anything would have taken Jolteon down at that point. So this next battle is against Omirica. Let's see what we got here. So I start off with Venusaur. They start off with Milotic. This is a fantastic... I know they're going to swap. I'm going to Mega Evolve into Mega Venusaur. They actually stayed in and went for Ice Beam, but Mega Venusaur has the thick fat ability, so they're not going to get much done. I went for Sludge Bomb because I figured they were going to swap, and even if they stayed in, Sludge Bomb's a good stab move. So they went for Ice Beam. I know they're going to stay in and continue to spam Ice Beam, so I went for the Giga Drain. That's obviously more damage. I'm going to get some health back. So clearly they're not a swapper, so this is just going to keep going. They went for Rest, so obviously it's going to be a Rest, Sleep Talk, Milotic. But I figure, Giga Drain does enough damage where I think I can kill it before it wakes up, so at least there's that. And at least if it wakes up, they probably go for Sleep Talk on that. So they get a Sleep Talk Scald. I'm not too worried about that. Second, I went for Sludge Bomb there, thinking maybe they'll swap. But clearly this person is not into swapping very often. So that actually works out for me. So they get another Sleep Talk Scald. I resist that pretty well. And the Giga Drain is going to take them down. So that's it. They were definitely trying to burn me. So in comes Heatmore. I'm not super concerned with this because of Thick Fat. I just went for another Sludge Bomb. Takes off a little less than half of his health. He gets the Fire Blast off. I'm able to live it because of the Thick Fat ability, and he doesn't get a burn. So I went for another Sludge Bomb. It just misses taking him out, and unfortunately I'm going to go down to the second Fire Blast. So, Mega Venusaur did a really good job there. The Heatmore is going to go down to its Life Orb. So, so technically that Mega Venusaur took down 2 Pokemon. In comes Steelix, and in comes Gardevoir. So Gardevoir traces my Sheer Force ability, and they decide to swap out to Tapu Bulu. So Tapu Bulu puts up the Grassy Terrain. I had gone for Iron Head. Unfortunately, they swapped in a Fairy type, and Tapu Bulu is going to immediately go down like a sack of potatoes. They swap in their Tangrowth. So I was actually, I think I had a choice item. I decided to swap over to Torkoal. Torkoal's a beast. They went for Earthquake because it's super effective, but Torkoal just has the most amazing physical defense and special defense. I mean, it's a wall. They went for Rock Slide. That's also super effective, but also not going to do a whole lot of damage to me. I went for Shell Smash with the White Herb, which is going to double my speed, special attack, and attack with no problems because of the White Orb. And of course, I have my leftovers helping me out there. So this is going to be done. Bop boop beep. The Tangrowth goes down to Fire Blast. I ain't worried about it. And, thankfully we got the Sun out. The Grassy Terrain is out, but the Sun is also out, so that boosts the Fire Blast's accuracy. They decided to bring in the Mega Gardevoir. I'm not super worried about it. They went for Calm Mind, clearly hoping to wall me out, but Fire Blast is going to do a lot of damage there. So definitely they can't take a second Fire Blast. Unfortunately, I'm kind of worried about what they might do. They went for Psyshock. It does a good amount of damage, but the second Fire Blast is easily going to take the Gardevoir down, leaving them down to their last Pokemon. So, that's Girafarig. And I was immediately thinking, no problem. They went for Thunderbolt. It just barely misses taking me out. And Fire Blast is going to completely body that Girafarig, and that is game. So, I said 5 battles, but I actually have 2 more. I might show you 7 if this doesn't take too long. So this is the big battle. Wait, is it this one or the next one? Oh no, okay, it's not this one. I'm sorry. This is the 4th battle. So I actually have 1 more. Maybe I'll show 6. So this is versus 87 Guy. So I start off with Meowstic F. They start off with Wormadam. So this is Meowstic F. I decide to swap out to Bastiodon because I'm thinking, well, I know what's coming. Bug Buzz, and I was correct. Bug Buzz doesn't hit too hard, but it breaks my air balloon. So that's kind of whatever. They decide to swap into Motom Row, which is going to take my Rock Blast really well, and I don't have Technician, so it's not like it's going to hit 5 times. I decided to throw out the Protect just to see what grass move they're going to use, but they went for Will-O-Wisp, which is like, oh shit, that's not good, so I decided to swap over to Ho-Oh, since you can't really burn Ho-Oh. So they had went for a second Will-O-Wisp. I think they knew I was going to swap, but they didn't know I was going to swap into Ho-Oh. They decided to Volt Switch the hell out of there. Volt Switch actually does really good damage there, but Ho-Oh has some pretty great moments here. I went for Sacred Fire because of course I did. Snorlax eats that up really well but gets burned. And I'm starting to gain a little bit of health back from my leftovers. And now there's not much Snorlax can do since he's burned. And he's a physical Pokemon. I went for Roost. They went for Whirlwind to get my Ho-Oh the hell out of there. But at least he healed himself. So out comes Bastiodon. So I'm going to go for Rock Blast because obviously I'm going to go for Rock Blast. It only hits twice and it doesn't do a lot of damage. They decide to Whirlwind out and bring out my Cinccino. So I see what they're doing. They're just trying to reveal my whole team and just sort of come up with a strategy. Now this was a Technician Cinccino with all multi-hit moves. So, really great Technician set. I went for Tail Slap, which does a lot of damage. And obviously I'm going to do it again and take the Snorlax out. So, Technician Cinccino, it had Rock Blast, Seed Bomb, and Tail Slap. So just a really great Technician set. So they sent in Durant. I decided to swap over to Ho-Oh. They went for Hone Claws, so that's just really unfortunate for them. They went for Stone Edge, and that's really unfortunate for me because I was really hoping it would miss because Stone Edge is not great. I was actually thinking of another Ho-Oh that I had great moments. So Bastiodon comes in, takes the superpower. Like, oh shit, I didn't know it had superpower. Bastiodon goes down. So now I'm a little worried. So I decided to bring out Meowstic because I think, well, let's see what it has that can take care of Meowstic F. They decided to swap into Wormadam. I had gone for Psychic. I think they knew I was going to go for Psychic there. The second Psychic is going to take the Wormadam down to red health, and they went for Bug Buzz, and that's just going to sack off the Meowstic F like nothing. So now I'm a little worried, but I do have this really great Technician Cinccino, so I decided to bring it out. I go for Rock Blast. It doesn't even need Technician because just one hit was enough to take the Wormadam down. Here comes Durant. I ain't worried about this. I decided to go for another Rock Blast. And that does about half damage, about 50%, a little more than 50% actually, closer to like 53%. They went for Hone Claws. They're not going to outspeed me anyway. The second Rock Blast is going to be more than enough to take the Durant down. So now I'm like, okay, Cinccino's the MVP here. Here comes Greninja. They don't know that I have Bullet Seed. I had already decided to see what Rock Blast does because I'm not ready to just reveal my whole set right away because I want to see what this Greninja is going to do. It goes for Hydro Pump, changes itself to the Water type. Of course, it was already Water type, but now it's Pure Water type instead of Water Dark. And I went for Rock Blast again because I'm like, why reveal that I have Bullet Seed when I don't have to? Although I could have just used it and bodied the Greninja early on. Here comes Rotom Mow. So I went for Rock Blast again. Why not? It's working pretty well. So actually, I might have been choiced. I don't think I was though. So Rock Blast does a lot of damage, and they finally take me down with Thunderbolt. So that Cinccino really got me back in the game there. I sent in my Mega Sharpedo, which of course I'm going to immediately Mega Evolve, and I went for Ice Fang. That's going to easily take Rotom Mow out. So I'm up 2-1. They have one Pokemon left. It's Emolga. I'm like, ah, crap. This is a problem. I sent in Nidoqueen because definitely here comes the electric type move. They actually went for Substitute, so now I'm like, okay, I got this. The thing is, I can't use any ground type moves because Emolga is a flying type, but Nidoqueen has the best utility here. Unfortunately, they're going for Air Slash Flinch Hacks. I'm like, crap. I can't swap Mega Sharpedo back in because it's just very weak to electric type moves. I'm going for Ice Beam because it is weak to ice. It's not a stab move, but I'm thinking maybe I can take it out if I don't get flinched all the time because Air Slash has a 30% flinch rate. Oh, Sludge Wave almost takes him out. I don't know why I went for Sludge Wave instead of Ice Beam there. That was probably my mistake because if I had used Ice Beam instead of Sludge Wave, I might have won right there. So I sent in Mega Sharpedo thinking maybe I can live one Thunderbolt really badly. And I did. I lived that one Thunderbolt really badly. And here comes Crunch, and I win! I really thought I had lost that one. Twice! At first I thought, because Pokemon were going down like crazy. And then the Technician Cinccino got me back in the game. And then I thought I was losing again. And thankfully, Sharpedo was able to save my ass there. So, here is the big epic battle versus... You know what? We'll show 6 battles. We'll save this one for the last. I got one more to show you first, actually. And this is versus... Molly Star. I gotta swap sides here. So they start off with Stantler. I start off with Spiritomb. Okay, no problem. They went for Mega Horn. It does okay. I went for Pursuit because I thought they were going to swap, and it was really my only attacking option that could hit Stantler. They went for Sucker Punch, which does a lot of damage there, and I'm a little worried there. I had actually also gone for Sucker Punch, so That sucked. They went for another Mega Horn. Thankfully, they missed there. I went for Dark Pulse, and that actually takes the Stantler out. I wasn't using Dark Pulse at first because it was outspeeding me, but, you know, hey, win in Rome. So Rotom Heat comes out. I went for Sucker Punch because I knew it was going to try to immediately take me out very quickly. And I get good damage off, and now the Overheat is going to take me down, but at least they get that special attack drop. So I'm like kind of hoping that Rotom Heat will stay in. I sent an Armaldo. They went for Overheat again, so I'm like, okay, they're not smart. And now they're down to a third of their special attack. Armaldo, I actually misclicked. There's a couple of misclicks. I misclicked and accidentally hit Rapid Spin, which of course does like no damage. They went for Pain Split, which just kind of sucks for me. I went for Knockoff. That's what I was going for the first time. Get rid of that Life Orb. So I was like, there was two misclicks. That was the first one. So the second misclick was swap into Gardevoir. I did not mean to swap to Gardevoir. So I accidentally swapped to Gardevoir, and they had gone for Pain Split, which of course does way better against a full health Gardevoir than it would have against my Armaldo. They went for Thunderbolt, and they actually paralyzed me. So I was actually just reading the lobby chat, and that's why I was so distracted. So I went for Psychic there. I'm like, I got to pay attention to this battle because I'm doing some stupid shit, misclicking and whatnot. Gligar comes in to take the next Psychic. It doesn't take it all that well. I'm thinking, I got a chance here. I'm still paralyzed. They went for U-Turn, which is good damage, but not quite enough. And they bring in Aerodactyl. So I'm like, all right, they're just trying to U-turn me. I had gone for Moonblast. That takes off a little less than half health for the Aerodactyl. And they're going to Mega Evolve into the Bearded Dragon here. And they went for Pursuit. Maybe thinking I would swap. Maybe thinking it's a Dark-type move and super effective. Moonblast is going to almost take it out. Almost take it out. So Stone Edge is going to easily take me out there. You know, of course it hits when it's used against me. So I bring Armaldo back in because he was supposed to be in, you know, anyway. They went for Roost. I'm like, crap, it's a Rooster. I went for Knockoff. Obviously, they didn't have an item, but I was just thinking I might get some good damage off on it. They went for another Roost. So I'm like, shit, I made some mistakes. Let's Toxic it. This thing's going to go down sooner or later. I'm tanky. He's tanky. Let's see who goes down first. Obviously, you're going to go down first because of... Toxic. So they went for Fire Fang. I went for another Knockoff. It was really my only, real option against this Aerodactyl. So they went for Pursuit. I guess they're just still thinking I'm going to swap out. I went for Knockoff again. This is taking a while, but I know he's going to go down to Toxic on this round. So there he goes. That Mega Aerodactyl is out. So here comes Gligar back in. They went for Earthquake. That's not going to do enough damage. I went for Knockoff. Got rid of their Eviolite, which is, huge because now their defenses are normal instead of being heightened. They went for Roost. Like, oh my god, Gligar has Roost too. So I went for Knockoff there, just because I think it's my best option. And they went for Defog, which is, really kind of weird. So I'm like, what are they doing with Defog? So I'm just going to spam Knockoff. There's no reason not to, and we'll just see what happens. They went for another Earthquake. I just barely lived it. Oh, wow. So I just said, all right, let's put Toxic on it, because this is probably the last time that Armaldo's going to be able to move. He's definitely going to go down to another Earthquake, and there he goes. But at least I got the Toxic off. So it's 3v4 in their favor, but about to be 3v3 because Gligar is, badly poisoned and on low health. So I bring in Pangoro. They went for Roost. They clearly don't want to, go down that quickly. I had gone for Gunk Shot. Of course it's going to resist it, but, whatever. I didn't think it would Roost again. They're just clearly trying to get some damage off. They actually U-turn out of there. I'm like, man, they really want to preserve their Gligar. In comes Lunala. It's triggered. This was after the other battle, but saving the other battle for last. Lunala. You guys, wait till you see what happened. Well, you know what happened kind of a little bit from the title. So, there goes Moongeist Beam. I went for Knockoff. It is double super effective on Lunala because it is a ghost and fairy type. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's ghost and fairy type. So that just bodies the Lunala. Here comes Rotom Heat. Does Pain Split again. I don't think it helped much. So whatever. So I decided to swap into Gigalith. I think I could probably they might use Pain Split, but they're probably not going to use it twice in a row like that. They don't think. Oh, they did. They did. Unfortunately. See, I forgot what happened. But the Stone Edge is more than enough to take it out. That Rotom Heat was a real pain in my ass. And so was that Gligar. And I'm thinking, well, here comes Gligar, right? And they have one more Pokemon. They decide to save the Gligar. They really don't want that Gligar to die. They sit in Diancie, who sets up a light screen. I had gone for Superpower. That pops their balloon, drops my defense and attack. Light Screen doesn't actually really protect against Superpower, but it has diminishing returns, so I swap over to Pangoro. He breaks the mold. How comes Hidden Power? I don't know what Hidden Power that was. Maybe Grass is my thinking. So I'm definitely going to go down to the Sandstorm no matter what. They decide to pop in Gligar. I get a Gunk Shot off. Unfortunately, I missed. So, yeah, that's it. I'm going to go down to this. Well, the Sandstorm actually subsided, so I actually saved the Pangoro. It subsided just in time. So, but then another Sandstorm comes up. I managed to save the Pangoro. Bring in Gigalith. They swap to Diancie. This is just crazy. They really don't want that Gligar to faint. So out comes Diamond Storm. I'm like, okay, I took that okay. Stone Edge is not going to do the damage I'm looking for. Diancie has really good defense, and it put up a Light Screen, so it's not like I can swap over to a special move. Now they get the Light Screen up, so now, I'm like, okay, well, it's, the Light Screen's back. Here comes Diamond Storm again. I live it. They have 2 times defense. I'm just like, please die. They don't. They live on 9% health from that Stone Edge. So at this point, I'm like, but I do have one Pokemon that they haven't seen, so there is that. I just lived the Diamond Storm. So I'm like, yes, I get off the Stone Edge. It misses. And then the Sandstorm subsides right before it definitely would have killed me, so I decided to swap in my last Pokemon, which is Lucario. He takes that Diamond Storm like a champ. And you know what's happening. Here comes Mega Evolve into Mega Lucario. Close combat. Bop, boop, beep. Even at 4x defense, there was no way that Diancie was going to live that. It had like 9% health. The Light Screen wears off. Everything's coming at Millhouse. In comes Gligar. This thing can't survive anything. I went for Bullet Punch. I know it's going to go down to Toxic, but then they use Roost. They really don't want this Gligar to faint. They know they can't win at this point. But they're just... I got to admire it, really. I went for Crunch. They went for U-turn. I'm thinking they're going to Roost, but maybe they'll go down to Toxic. It's been racking up. They actually live the Toxic. I'm like, well, here comes Roost, right? And then they Rage Quit. They just did not want to see that Gligar faint. Maybe Gligar's their favorite Pokemon. So here comes the big epic battle versus Over the Edge. This is crazy. So it starts off pretty normal. I start off with Lurantis. They start off with Tapu Bulu. So they went for Mega Horn. It takes off like most of my health. I went for Knockoff. That's going to get rid of their Choice Scarf. So, all right. They're no longer locked into Mega Horn. But now they're not going to be quite as, fast because Choice Scarf boosts your speed. I decided to swap into my Moltres. So they went for another Mega Horn. Of course, Moltres double resist that, being both Fire and Flying type. And I decided to go for Will-O-Wisp because I thought they're probably going to swap. They're not going to stay into this. They went for Stone Edge. Oh my god, but I lived it. Definitely because I burned them. If I hadn't burned them, Moltres would have gone down like your mom. It would have been a tragedy. So the Fire Blast is able to body the Tapu Bulu. That's just really great luck on my part there. So I'm like, okay, we're starting off good. Here comes the mighty Pelipper. This thing is just way scarier than it should be. I decide to swap it with a Blastoise because I know there's a Water-type move coming, but no, I was wrong. They used U-turn. Why are they U-turning out of there? In comes Gourgeist. Oh my god, maybe they knew I would swap to a Water-type to take a Water-type move better, so they U-turned into their Grass-type. I decided to Mega Evolve. They went for Seed Bomb. It does good damage, but Blastoise is fat as fuck. I went for Ice Beam. That does a lot of damage. I can't live another Seed Bomb, right? So I'm definitely going to swap. I bring in Moltres because I'm thinking, well, here comes Seed Bomb, right? Yeah. So, of course, he double resists the Seed Bomb. I'm thinking, well, are they going to stay in or are they going to swap? What's going to happen here? So they swapped into Alolan Dugtrio, which is unfortunately, doesn't resist fire. Normal Dugtrio does, but Alolan type Dugtrio is Steel type. So then they double swap into Pelipper. Pelipper is always a problem. I had already gone for Fire Blast. Of course, it's going to take that like a champ, and I don't get a burn off or anything. So, what's so crazy about this battle? So, nothing's happening, right? No big deal. It's normal battle. I swap into Blastoise, my Mega Blastoise. They swap into Gourgeist. We're swapping more shit than Brazilian porn stars. So, this is just, kind of annoying me at this point. They swap back into Pelipper. Well, I kept trying to put the Blastoise in against the Pelipper, but I had already swapped into Regice. So, Regice is going to really be the MVP here. Watch this, guys. So they went for Scald, hopefully trying to burn me. They don't get the burn off. I get the Thunderbolt off. I don't think they knew that I thought they thought that they could live an Ice Beam real badly or something. They didn't know that I had Thunderbolt, so the mighty Pelipper goes down and is double weak to Electric. In comes Alolan Dugtrio. I swap to Moltres. So they went for Iron Head. That's not what I was expecting, but it works pretty well. I was actually expecting like a ground type move or something. That's why I swapped into a flying type. So I decided to get off the Fire Blast. That's going to be more than enough to take them out. At this point, I'm entertaining the thought that I might get my first 6-0 battle where I win and I don't lose any Pokemon. In comes Uxie. I swap out of Regice. They use Psychic. I'm trying to preserve. I'm not sacking off anything. I want to see if I can 6-0 this guy. Guys, I'm not going to 6-0 this guy. But Uxie goes for the Yawn. They don't even know. I just all right, let's get Thunderbolt off. They don't even know this is a Rest, Sleep, Talk Regice. You really don't want to put him to sleep because he has Sleep Talk. It's Rest, Sleep, Talk, Thunderbolt, and I think what the other move was. Ice Beam. So I went for Ice Beam. I get the freeze. I'm feeling pretty great about that. They're probably not going to swap because I'm going to sleep, right? They're like, oh, I have time to unfreeze myself because they're sleeping and they have to wake up, and I was frozen before they were sleeping. Here's the thing. Like I said, this is a Sleep Talker, so there goes another Ice Beam. Uxie takes it pretty well. Unfortunately, the leftovers are really going to stop me from killing this thing very easily. But I'm thinking, hey, no big deal. Unfortunately, I woke up, and of course I had hit Sleep Talk already, so that was a waste of a turn. But at least they're still frozen, and I'm gaining my health back at a pretty good rate here. So they unthaw. They went for Psychic. I don't think they really had any good options against my Regice. I went for Ice Beam, and that's going to do pretty good damage there. And I don't know if it was me or Gunny that brought makes my Bixby there come up on my phone. So that next Ice Beam is able to take them down. Regice is doing it. They swap in Lunala. They go for Focus Blast. Thankfully, Regice is really tanky and he's able to take that really well. I went for Ice Beam. It does nothing. So this Lunala is a real problem, and I don't really have an answer to it. They went for another Focus Blast. Ooh, but remember, I wanted to 6-0 them, so I went for Rest. I'm thinking I can stay in. They can continue to Focus Blast, but maybe I'll get off like a Scald or not a Scald, whatever I had. I had Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. I was hoping I would get off Thunderbolt and paralyze them, is what I was hoping, or I would get off Ice Beam and freeze them. So I went for Sleep Talk. Unfortunately, I got Rest. This is when they're going to start using Calm Mind. So I decided to swap into my Deoxys, which is Defense Form Deoxys. They went for Focus Blast, which I knew they would, and I knew it wouldn't really affect the Deoxys that well. And it actually had missed. So Gourgeist comes down and frisks out my leftovers. They know I have leftovers. Who cares? I knock off their leftovers. They had gone for Shadow Sneak. I don't know how Shadow Sneak went second there. That's the next turn. Duh. And so they get off a Shadow Sneak. I knock off their whole shit. So all they have left is Lunala. So I'm thinking if I can kill this Lunala without losing any of my Pokemon, I'm going to get my first 6-0. The Moon Guy's Beam just does a lot of damage. I'd gone for a knockoff. I knocked off their leftovers. So I'm thinking they don't have leftovers. I have, I even have a Pokemon they haven't seen, which is my Exploud, and I bring it out. So they go for Moon Guy's Beam, which I figured they would do. Of course, that's a Ghost type move, and it's not going to affect Explode. Unfortunately, they also have Focus Blast, so if they can shit, and I missed on the Fire Blast. So obviously the next Focus Blast is going to take me out. They thought I was going to swap, so they went into Moon Guy's Beam, which of course is not going to affect me. The second Fire Blast is going to take them down to 38% health. They went for Focus Blast, and they missed. Here's my chance. I go for Fire Blast. Oh, they just live on 9% health, and I don't get the burn. I should have stayed in. Guys, I should have stayed in. They went for Focus Blast again. Maybe it would have missed. Maybe I decide to swap over to Regice. So it takes the Focus Blast, okay. They went for Roost. I'm like, oh crap. So here's the thing. I have 6 Pokemon, they have 1, and I'm actually going to speed this part up because it takes a long time. So, here's the problem. They do pretty well. They take down 2 or 3 of my Pokemon, but here's the thing. This Lunala decided to be the queen of stalling. They have Roost, they have Focus Blast, they have Moongeist Beam, and they have Calm Mind. And the thing is, I think they're realizing that I don't really have any answer to this Lunala. I don't have any Dark-type moves. Otherwise, I would have used it by now. So, here's the thing. Lunala is extremely bulky in physical defense. And what Over the Edge did here in this battle is he decided to start spamming Calm Mind to get it up all the way to 4x special attack, and 4x special defense. Now, at first I thought, well, he's just trying to get up the special attack so he can take my Regice down in one shot and just start sweeping me, which I was worried about, and I was really lucky to get that freeze. So I don't know why I switched over to Thunderbolt there. Unfortunately, they unfreeze right away and get off a roost, which really sucks. So this Lunala is not going anywhere. So now I'm just like, all right, we'll stick to Ice Beam. It's stab. Maybe I can freeze it. And then I was thinking, well, maybe I could paralyze it. I don't know, but that's not going to help much anyway. So they're maxed out on special attack and special defense. And they're going to take out a few of my Pokemon pretty quickly, but then they're going to completely wall me out. So I decided to swap over to Blastoise. Unfortunately, the Moongeist Beam takes him down. I send in Deoxys. Moongeist Beam easily takes him down. So I'm like, shit. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe we can burn him. Doesn't work. Then they go for Calm Mind. I'm like, why are they going for Calm Mind again? And I realized they probably don't have any PP left for Moongeist Beam. They're out of it. So I sent an Exploud just in case to see if I could bait them into trying to do Focus Miss. But they don't have any PP left for any attacking moves. All they have is Calm Mind and Roost. So they can't win because they can't attack me. So what they're trying to do is wall me out until they run out of Calm Minds. And whenever they get low on health, they're going to use Roost. So I have to wait for them to run out of Roost so I can actually kill this thing. And I'm chipping it down very slowly because I don't have any physical moves. And they keep using Roost. So once they run out of Roost, they're pretty much done. But they're also using Calm Mind every turn. So what Lunala is hoping to do, what Over the Edge is hoping to do with this Lunala, which I don't think has ever been attempted in Pokemon competitive battling ever with a legendary Pokemon like Lunala, is they're trying to use Struggle to win. That's what they're trying to do. They want to be at full health, run out of PP, and use Struggle and win, or at least just come off a little better than only taking down 2 of my Pokemon with their very last Pokemon. So, I'm going for Boom Burst over my Exploud. By the way, my Exploud is a choice band, so I can't use any other move. I'm thinking maybe they don't have any Roost left. They let me get down all the way down to 5% before using Roost again. I swapped to Regice there because, as you noticed, I used Struggle because I was out of PP for Boom Burst, so I had to swap and then double swap back to Exploud because I figured he was my best bet. I start using Surf. It's not the best damage, but it has a lot of PP because at this point I know what they're doing. So we're almost done here. They went for another Roost. I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually like bringing up Bulbapedia. I'm like, how many? Because all the Pokemon in this game, they actually took my Exploud down with Struggle. So now I know they're down to Struggle. I went to Will-O-Wisp. I was looking at how many PP Roost had. I put the burn on them because Struggle is physical. So now each time they use Struggle, they're going to do very little damage, and they're going to lose a lot more to recoil. So I know they're done. They actually technically went down to the burn there after the recoil damage. And you know what? After 89 turns, the longest battle that I've ever had in Pokemon Showdown or in any Pokemon game, they just left. They didn't say good game or anything, and yeah, I'm just kind of like over the edge. What are you doing? Come on. So anyway, that's why I was only going to show 5. I decided to show 6 because I only had one more, and I was like, well, I don't want to just show that because it's almost as much time as it would have taken to show you 10 battles, 10 normal battles. So, yeah, that's it. We're done. See you next time.